Hi and welcome to part 3 of the garden project, Mayo Field Reclamation. This project commenced in May 2018. The objective is to reclaim a field in Mayo, Ireland, which has not been cultivated in 20 to 25 years. If you're interested in following the progress of this project, you might want to watch part 1 and part 2. Today is the 13th of January 2019. It's winter here in Ireland. Thankfully, so far, it's been a very mild winter. Temperatures are cold to mild. We've had some storms, but as of yet, there's been no freezing or frost, which is a good thing. We've had plenty of rain, but nothing out of the ordinary. So we've been busy here in Mayo. At this stage in the project, the site has been cleared of rushes, brambles and debris. The ground has been levelled and in many places it's been dug. There's a lot more digging to do around drainage and soil compaction, and that's for another day. Since the field was first cleared in June, weeds have grown again, but that's going to be an ongoing issue. As this is a moist site, they'll naturally thrive. In places we have an extremely healthy and dense cover of creeping buttercup. We also see new rushes beginning to grow. Wild bulbs and ferns, which are not a problem, are also naturally growing. We welcome them. We've almost completed the shelter belt. This is an important feature of the site because we have no shelter to the south, to the west or north to protect the site from the constant wind. So far we've planted 250 trees, the majority of which are native. So far we've planted Italian alder, which I'm told is number 1 shelter belt material. We've planted silver birch, hornbeam, mountain ash, spindle, lots of willow and some red cedar, western red cedar. It was a challenge, but rather easy to plant all these trees. We bought them as whips, otherwise known as bare root plants. We bought them from a local supplier, Turlock Nurseries near Castlebar in Mayo. We took on the job with a great deal of enthusiasm, and I have to say with an equal amount of apprehension. We'd no experience of planting whips, and certainly not in such large quantities. The buying and planting of whips needs to be managed carefully because once the whips are uprooted in the nursery, they need to be planted fairly quickly. Their roots cannot be allowed to dry out, otherwise they will die. If they're not planted straight away, they need to be protected from drying out. Initially we bought 125 trees in October and planted them on the day of purchase. We'd never planted whips before, so we weren't sure how long it would take or how difficult it might be. Regardless, with spade in hand, they went into the ground one by one, and it took roughly 7 hours to plant, stake and fit the trees with rabbit protection. More trees were bought in November and planted on the day, and the last lot was bought at the end of December and again planted on the day. In total we've planted 250 trees, all of which serve the purpose of creating a much needed shelter belt. Over the coming years we will add more trees such as whitethorn, guelder rose and crabapple, and maybe some specimen trees. We will also add hedging and shrubs, ferns, wildflowers, grasses and whatever it takes to turn this field into a productive and loved garden. And now that the trees are planted, the real work begins, tending to their welfare. We'll need to help these fledgling trees for the next 2 to 3 years and give them the best opportunity to establish and develop to maturity. So we'll need to take care of the basics. The area around the root of the trees will need to be kept weed free. We'll need to maintain strong support to prevent the root movement and loosening that's caused by the wind. Of course, They'll need to be watered and fertilised. Some will need pruning. We'll need to keep an eye out for disease and tackle that should it arise. We've not wasted anything here in the garden, even cardboard. As you're looking at here, we've planted cardboard as a weed suppressant. The area you're looking at now will be our vegetable garden. It's an area measuring 10 metres by 15 metres. It should be enough to grow all the vegetable and herbs we need for the year. In preparation, we've laid the black membrane in order to kill off weeds. The membrane will be lifted in a few weeks and hopefully it will have done its job. This position receives full sun all day long. The soil is good and free draining. The only perceived issue is the wind. The position is totally exposed and receives the full brunt of any prevailing winds. So we need to erect protection all around our vegetable garden. Here's an example of the wind here today, and it's a relatively mild wind. But that's where we are, folks, at this stage in the project. So until next time, part 4, take care and happy gardening. Bye for now.